Okay, there we go. You're able to see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, great. Awesome. Okay, dokie. Okay, so were you able to go through the script?
Yeah, I was a little bit.
Okay.
Mhm.
Well, the good thing is that everybody can read off of this script, right? The main reason we wanted to have the script is making sure that we know what you're saying and when you're saying what you're saying, right? So that's the most important part. And tonality, you don't want to sound like a robotic. That's all. I mean, you can just have the script with you all day long and just have it in front of you and talking to people, right? It's simple, but getting a hang of it, that's important, so that way you know what keywords to use, what to say, and when to say it. That's it. So what we're gonna do is you'll be the agent, I'll be the client. You call me and go over the script with me, okay?
Yes.
Okay, great. Awesome. So go ahead.
All right. Um, Hello, Rangina.
Yes, who's this?
Hey, Rangina, this is Nancy speaking. I'm a state licensed underwriter reaching out to you regarding the form that you submitted on Facebook in regards to the state regulated and affordable final expense insurance to take care of the burial or cremation. Um, where you put John Doe as your beneficiary and Sam as your favorite hobby. Does that ring a bell?
Yeah, I remember. Yes.
Okay, perfect. So now Rangina, so that you know, these plans are non-medical. There's no blood work or urine test required. As far as my job, it's just to go over the information and qualification questions, which takes about 15 to 20 minutes. Is this a good time to go over this with you?
You know what? Actually, no, I'm going for an appointment right now. So can you just call me back later?
Yeah, no problem. We can definitely schedule a time that works best for you. I see that you're about 30 years old, 30 years young. Is that correct?
Yeah, that is correct.
Okay, are you working or retired or on disability by any chance?
Um, I so here's the thing. Of course, it's final expense. I'm not gonna be 30, right? But
Oh, yeah.
this is just, but that's no problem. So, yeah, I am actually retired completely.
Okay, great, great, great. So I do have a few spots available tomorrow. Do you prefer mornings or afternoons?
You know what? Mornings are good.
Okay, so I have 9:45 or 11 a.m. available. What time works best for you?
Why don't we do to 9:45?
Okay, 9:45. So I have you down for tomorrow at 9:45. My name is Nancy. You will also receive a confirmation to your phone. Please put it on your schedule and I will talk to you on tomorrow at 9:45.
Okay, perfect. I'll talk to you then, Nancy.
Okay.
Thank you. Okay,
So,
perfect. Yeah. I mean, even you said you haven't practiced, you were very good. So, this is the easiest one you get, but pretty much no objection, right? Like nice clients.
yeah.
But what if they throw out an objection? There's a couple objections that are very, very common, and it's just gonna get repetitive because pretty much everyone will tell you the same objections, right? Give you same objection. An objection is something that they just want to see how you react to something, right? How you handle it, if you're professional enough or not, if they really can't trust you. That's it. An objection is nothing, big. And what you need to do, a couple things to keep in mind when someone is throwing out an objection at you, still nothing should change. Okay, your tonality still should be the same. You don't have to get nervous or panic about it. Hey, perfect. Whatever they say, be comfortable. Perfect. As if you're like it's nothing, right? You acknowledge briefly, overcome it and go back to your script. You don't stay silent. You don't over explain things, which that is the main reason that a lot of people get hung up on is because they over explain themselves. They, go from here to from A to B, from B to F, right? You don't want to do that. You want to be very, very um very brief about it and just go back to your script. Okay, so say they, common objection you get over the phone is like, You know what? I didn't fill that out, Nancy. Hey, perfect. This is just to you know what, let's do this. You give me some objection that you think people would give you over the phone, and I'll just overcome that. Let's do that way.
Okay. Um, I don't really need insurance right now. Like, I don't, yeah, like I don't really need insurance right now. So I'm not really interested in like final expense and all of that.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely, Nancy. That is no problem. Just so you know, these, since you did request these plans, my job is to just go over this with you, okay? Making sure that you at least have the information. No obligation is required, but my job is to just really go over the information and see if it benefits you. Great. If it doesn't benefit you, you can pass it on to someone that actually is needing final expense insurance. Does that make sense?
okay, yeah, that's good.
So yeah, so all you have to really do is whether you're doing telesales or in person, your job is to really make sure you either get into their house, book an appointment basically, or make sure you actually, go over the presentation with them. Because at the end of the day, when they filled out the form, there was at that time that was important to them, right?
Mhm.
Something crossed their mind that was important to them. So that's why when we say that don't give them so many days before you call them, don't give them so many days so that when they back up, make sure you actually call them right away. And within 48 hours, you got to make sure you present that to them, right? So that way, a lot of things can change in between, right? But yeah, as simple as that. All you got to do is really sit down with them and present it. What else do you think you might get?
I need to talk to my husband about this first. I don't know. I don't really want to talk to just you and like make a decision with you over the phone right now. Can I let you know when I speak to my husband?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Hey, listen, Nancy. Right now, all we gotta do is making sure that set up a time with you and your husband because this is really something important. So I do highly recommend that your spouse is there as well, so we can go over the information together. So does your spouse has final expense as well, or what's the status?
Oh, I'm not sure if he has final expense.
Okay, that's no
I'm
problem. What? How old is he?
Yeah, he's about 55.
55. Okay, great, great. Why don't we do this, Nancy? Does he work, by the way, or is he, retired just like yourself?
He's still working.
He's still working. What does his schedule look like for the next 2 days?
Um, well, looks like, yeah, I think he's off tomorrow.
Oh,
So
that's great. That's great. So I have a couple slots tomorrow. Do you guys are you guys more like a morning people or afternoon?
we're definitely morning people. We like to wake up in the morning
Okay,
early.
great. So, and then you just give them the timing.
Okay.
So, as I mentioned, never sit down with a one-legged appointment, especially if someone tells you that over the phone while you're booking an appointment, about their, spouse, like red flag. You absolutely want to make sure, that the spouse is there. It has happened to me, like, I have booked an appointment. I went to the house and then the spouse was not there. Believe it or not, even though I drove like an hour for the appointment, I
Oh,
never
wow.
did the presentation. I was like, hey, listen, this is very important. So I don't want to explain it to you. And then I have to come back, explain it to your spouse, or you have to explain it to them. And I'm sure, a lot of things will be missed. So what we want to do is save us both time and energy. And I want to make sure that your spouse is there and we can explain, I can explain to both of you guys to make sure that you guys do understand it. So, and then I just wrapped everything up and went to my next appointment. So things like that is sometimes it's better to not waste time. Like you gotta understand, like spouses, they have to be there. Kids, it's a different thing that they're like, oh, I need to talk to my kids. That's a very common, objection you'll get. It's a lot easier, I would say, to handle. But when it comes down to spouse, Majority of the time, it's really hard because you understand when it comes down to, to people living together, they will make a lot of the time, the decision, finances and everything together, right?
Yeah.
So it's very important to have both of them present. Okay. Okay, perfect. So what else do you think you will get only for phone script? What do you think? Mm-hmm.
You hanging up.
Hanging up, call them again.
Yeah.
When they hang up on me, there can be multiple reasons. Either when I started, they didn't like my tonality, the way I was talking, or I was talking too robotic, or I was talking too fast. It can be the agent, right? Sometimes they're like having a bad day, or think about this way. It's nothing personal. They don't know you. They don't know me, right? They're seniors. They can have really bad days. They can be in pain. So understand it. Think about that way, that hey, this is, they might be in a situation that they're receiving 100 calls. Seniors, come on, we get a ton of calls ourselves. Like imagine being in their 70s and then having pain, having a bad day, and then receiving tons of calls. It's not fun. So it's very important on how you really open up the conversation for them not to hang up. But if they do hang up, whether it's at the beginning of the call or during our conversation, I call them back. Hey, Nancy, listen, before you do hang up, I'm not a telemarketer, okay, hon? I am a state licensed underwriter. This is about the form that you had filled out where you put John as your beneficiary. Does that ring a bell? So I explain it to them, like, what is this for? This is to make sure when you pass away to take care of your burial or cremation, when you put your favorite hobby as this. Does that ring a bell? So things like that, like explaining to them, not taking it too personal, not being argumentative about it. Like be very calm, be very patient. You got to learn being patient because you'll be dealing with a lot of different type of people that will hang up, they will cut you out, they will say bad words. And on the other hand, there will be a lot of great people that you will be in touch. We're looking for them. We're looking for the ones that we can help them out. That's it. Okay. Now,
So what happens if, oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
Okay. I was just going to ask, what happens if they don't pick up? Do we follow up with a voice message, like a voicemail or a text message?
I don't personally. You can if that works for you. I personally if they hang up, I call them back twice, always twice, not once, and then I let it go, put a note on my file, and then I call them maybe later that day, or I call them to the next day, depending on what time of the day it is. So within 24 hours, I'll still get in touch with them. I don't leave voicemails.
Okay. So just kind of like adding on the list to follow up with the message.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I like to resolve all my leads. This is how I am. I remember, and I'm sure Sam wouldn't mind saying this on the recording, but I remember Sam would, go to, door knock a lead. A lead doesn't pick up. He would door knock only twice, and he would be like, oh, I'm done with this, right? I would just, grab all his leads and would door knock, and I would get the appointment. And I have had a lot of deals from Sam's leads just because he didn't want to work more, right? So this is how I am. I'm very stubborn when it comes out. Like, hey, either they kick me off the house or they block me or whatever it might be. I want to get a no. Or there has been time that, they have called the cops at an appointment. Before I got there, the cops were there, and I don't even know if that was like an actual cop, because I wasn't even in the States. Like, come on, I didn't know anything about these stuff, right? Like, I showed up to an appointment, and it was a mortgage appointment. I booked the appointment. It was like handwritten mortgage lead. Very interesting. I went to an appointment. A lady came up, and got out of the door. She was like, oh, can we just sit, at the patio? I don't want you to come inside the house. I was like, okay. I booked an appointment with your husband. I was like, yeah, he's on his way, blah, blah, blah. And then long story short, she's like asking so many questions, and I'm like answering very calmly. And I kind of sense like there's something wrong. And then she was just asking, where did you get this lead from? Where did you get this information? Who you are? How did you, get licensed? Do you pay for these? Does your company pay for it? And all those kind of questions, weird, right? So I was like, being calm and answering all the questions. And then she's like, okay, listen. She got tired with me and she was like, hey, listen. I'm actually, these people actually called me. I'm, an officer. So they called me. They were really, thinking it's a scam or whatever. They got really scared. I was like, what are they scared about? I mean, I literally asked them, like, dude, this is the form that's handwritten. Someone had filled this out and sent it to me. Oh, this information, the loan information was incorrect. I'm like, yeah, that happens because this is public record. It can be a couple thousand up and down. That's no big deal. They filled out the form themselves. They sent this into our office. We booked an appointment over the phone. I have talked to these people. They know my information, my license number and everything. What are they scared about? Like, I was like straight up, and she was like, hey, I understand. Now I know you're very legit. I could see your license. She even got my picture of my license plate, driver license, all that information. I was like, hey, listen, I don't want to waste time. I have appointments to go. I'm not giving you any information about, oh, where are you going to next appointment and all this stuff. I'm like, I can't give you all that information. I'm so sorry. You can take whatever information about myself. I'm not giving any other information. Just let the people know they can keep the form themselves. But if they needed help, just let me know. I don't mind helping them. So it has, these things can happen, right? You got to be prepared about it, right? It can be. That's why when they say that this business, you really need to build that thick skin, is because you'll go through a lot of good and bad stuff during your journey. And then it just gets so normal. You just build that confidence, you build that thick skin. You're like, hey, it's a part of it, right? But all you got to really do is don't take it personal, and also do not mix your personal and business life, because at the end of the day, Nancy, this is, how do I say? So basically, if you do mix it up, there will be nobody else working for you. That makes sense. It will be just yourself. And then once you have the team, you gotta make sure you lead from the front, no matter what. So whatever you have in your personal life, put that in the back of your head. Once you start dialing, once you have your phone, start fresh, as if nothing is going on, because everybody goes through something. So those are the things that are really important to keep in mind. But other than that, you got to understand, you're going to go through a roller coaster. You got to be ready. And how you will build the skin, the thick skin, is by talking to a lot of people, go through a lot of no's, going through a lot of shit, right? Sorry for my language, but you got to make sure. But yeah, okay. So yeah, those are just a couple of main objections. Like, hey, call me back. I'm not interested. I got this taken care of. This is one main one. Hey, you know what? Yeah, I already got this taken care of. Okay, great, Nancy. I'm really glad that you got this taken care of. Now, most people do fill out multiple forms, making sure that, they're not overpaying for insurance. Since these plans are state regulated, pretty much what we do is shop around for our clients. So making sure that, you have the right plan for yourself. So when you filled out the form, when you wanted to compare prices, you want to add more coverage, what were you looking for, Nancy? Right? So like, I'm like throwing it out there to them, right? I'm not waiting for their answer. I'm giving them options so they can choose to give me the answer. Makes sense?
Yes.
So whatever they tell you, you're like, hey, great, let's go ahead and help you out. Whether they want to compare prices, whether they want to add coverage, you have to be the, you have to come up with a solution. As simple as that. They bring the problem, you come with the solution. Okay. Those are just a couple objections in the Go Getters platform. You'll be able to see under the Telesales, there are like some objection handling as well. I will say print it out and practice, and have that always, with you, whether on your computer or print it on your desk. Okay. Okay. So any questions regarding this at all?
No, this
okay.
Straightforward.
Okay, perfect. Let's go ahead and go through this real quick, okay? I'm gonna go briefly over this and then gonna do a role play the next day, okay?
Okay.
I'm gonna go the only one that I'm gonna go. We're not gonna role play right now. So if they say, yes, I have time right now. Okay, great. The next thing you do is have them grab a pen and paper. This is to gain the credibility, especially when you're talking over the phone. They don't see you, they don't know you. So you got to understand, you're going to be asking some personal information. This is very, very important, as making sure you gain their trust and build that rapport with them. Okay. So this is important, is making sure that they grab a pen and paper. You will give them your information, which is your state license number or your national producer number. National producer number is on a safer side because sometimes you're not going to be licensed in the state that you choose. Actually, it's not life transfer. I'm just mixing up. If it is Telesales, you choose your own state, which state you're licensed in, and you're just going to receive from those states. You're just going to receive calls from those leads from those states, right? But if you would like to still, for an example, if you're not licensed in Florida and because you live in Florida, but anyways, I'm just giving an example. If you're not licensed in Florida, you want to still, just because you'll get more leads there, so you still want to get leads over there, run your campaign over there, then what you need to do is give them your national producer number and then apply for the license, for an example. Okay, so at least you're safer. National producer number, it works for all the states. Okay, so this is important, is again the credibility, as really making sure you let them know. Why my cursor is not working? Come on. Oh, there we go. So it's very important that they understand who you are. So that way, every single thing that you see on the presentation is a lot of these is to handle a lot of objection ahead of time. Okay, they say, how do you overcome the objection? I overcome the object. How do you handle the objection? By overcoming it ahead of time. That's the best thing you can do. That's why it's really important to you building that rapport and gaining that credibility. And when it comes down to like, hey, my name is this producer number, I love to tell them that this is like building a really, they feel comfortable when you're like, hey, you can go to the Department of Insurance on government website and be able to look me up. Most of the majority of them, they're not going to do it, but they're like, hey, this is a legitimate, person that I'm talking to, because they're so confident giving me all that information. So I'm safe, because a lot of things can happen over the phone, right? So you got to understand that. So once you do that, the next thing you want to do is explain to them how you can help them out, right? You can put 20 to 25, but I just say over 40 different insurance companies I'm licensed with. So I have access to. So basically my job is making sure to find you the most affordable coverage with the best rates, to make sure that, it's within your budget. So, and then I explained them that everything is based on your age and health. So I'm already telling them what everything looks like. This is important because I want to make sure they understand what we're going to do. And most of this will help you out if you want to do in person. This is pretty much the same. It's just this part will not, match. You're just going to show your license while you're in person, but everything else is pretty much the same, just so you know. Okay. But other than that, really letting them know what it looks like. Hey, once we identify your options, Ms. Smith, I will look into some, companies that offer you the most affordable coverage with the most benefits possible. And most importantly is making sure that you understand that you only can buy insurance once you get approved. So before you buy insurance, you have to get approved for it first. So I'm explaining to them what the situation looks like, or what the process looks like before we get into their information. Very important. Okay. Now the second part what we're gonna do is really is asking them about the medical questions. Okay, we're gonna dive into this a little bit more because what we need to do is with the medical questions we have to have the FEX toolkit in order for us to put down their information and see the options for the companies and the quotes, basically, right? So I just go over the medical questions here, the second thing, and the financial inventory, which is also attached at the, under the telesales category on the Go-Getters platform. So you'll have access to that as well. And then just, go over all the questions here. Very simple, nothing complicated, just some health questions. You got to understand when they tell you one health question, one health issue, ask them when they were diagnosed and what treatment they're going through. Those are the most important things. Okay. And then the next thing is really you're preparing options on the toolkit. And then over here on the fourth step, you find their why. Why this is so important, because you don't want to be one of those people that they're looking for cremation, you're showing burial, or vice versa. Whatever they're looking for, you want to show them that option. If they're looking for cremation and adding, leaving some money for their kids or grandkids, you want to show that option. And we're going to work on that as well, on how you can play around with the options. Okay. So it's really important, because at the end of the day, this is where you want to get a little bit, emotional. Why it's important? Because you now want to have them sell you on why you should help them out. Hey, that someone passed away in the family. What does it look like to them if they didn't have insurance? What's going to look like to their family if this person is gone? Do they have any plan B? Do they have any money saved up? Things like that. So this part is very important, is to know why they're looking for what they're looking for. Okay.
Yes.
Awesome.
Perfect.
And then the fifth part is really going through the benefits of the policy. This is really so simple. Tonality is important over here, Nancy. So what you need to really do is explain the benefits. You don't want to be like, oh, okay, I have $6,000 for $50, $7,000 for $60, and blah, blah, blah. But if you tell them that, hey, these are the benefits, and then be like 6,000 is, leaving this, it's going to cover your cremation. It's about $50. That's different. Think about this way. If you're like, hey, this is a bottle of water. This is 50 cents. Get it. Or if you say, hey, water is really good. It will help you out stay hydrated. It's really good for your blood flow. It's good for this. It's good for that, for your skin, for digestion, blah, blah, blah. And then you're like, it's only 50 cents. So now you're putting value over price. They don't see the price, they see the value. So it's very important explaining the benefit, because this is where you put the value of the policy. Okay. And then the next thing is really, this is the guaranteed issue policy. So if someone, I will tell you on the FEX toolkit what's guarantee issue. When someone is guarantee issue, for an example, if they're on oxygen, right? Current cancer, things like that. Kidney failure, dialysis, it's guarantee issued directly. It's because they have to wait 2 years before the policy kicks in, but they're covered for accidental. So the first thing you always want to do is, you don't want to, I'm so sorry, you only got approved for guaranteed issue, right? That's not how you explain guaranteed issue. That's what we have set this up, because still gonna sound really good. Because if they don't get it from you, Nancy, they're gonna get from somebody else. Anyways, right? So guaranteed issue is something that it covers them day one for accidental. So that's a good news, right? And then the good thing is that whatever they put into the policy, they're still gonna get everything back plus 10%. That's still a good news.
Beautiful.
Yeah. So how you explain things, it's really important. So that's what we have put this together. Okay. So after they, after you give them the 3 options, and 3 options doesn't mean from 3 different companies. It means 3 options within the same company. You choose one company. For an example, American Amicable, you give 3 options with the American Amicable. For an example, 10, 15, and 20,000. Okay. And then that's it. You close the deal. Okay. When you close the deal, you get all their information, and we're going to go over all of this Once you go through all this, we will do a role play. Because we need a minimum of 45 minutes in order to go through this. There's a lot more into it that I want to make sure you understand. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, awesome. No problem. Any questions?
No, that was very good.
Okay.
So,
Mhm.
one question, since I'm kind of new and I'm going to be kind of looking at the script,
Mhm.
do I have to kind of find a way to read the script while doing the quote at the same time, like kind of bouncing back? Okay, so I have to
Yes,
find
this is what I do. If you're a multitask person, that's awesome because you're gonna save time. But if you're not, you take your time, still have conversation. Do not stay silent. That's the worst thing you can really do. But I do like 2 things, 3 things at the same time.
Okay,
Yeah.
perfect.
Awesome. Okay. So let me go ahead and stop the recording here.